Hey folks, Baxel here. Today's video isn't for my normal viewers. This is for people who aren't quite sure how to play the game and are a little bit hesitant to jump into their first public match. So by all means, if you are a returning viewer from the channel, please feel free to forward this on to your friends who may be interested in the game but not quite sure how to start out. Now, with the new heroes being released, we'll have an influx of players as we often do, when there is more interest around the game. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to boot up the game and talk a little bit about what Deadlock is and how you can play. So Deadlock is a MOBA, all first and foremost. It's about earning souls or a currency and buying items to effectively fight the way you want to, whether that be playing a more supportive style and helping your team, or being the carry and dealing the damage, frontliner, those sorts of things. Now, as we load into Deadlock, we can see that it's third person. So I'm playing as this big blue guy at the moment because I imagine this is the character that you will start out playing. Now, we spawn in front of this door here, and we've got a play section in front of us. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over a few core mechanics of the game by running through to the left-hand side here. And this is just a little testing area that we can use, and we can hang out with our friends here whilst we wait for a game to be found. So the first thing we can notice is we've got a gun. This is true for every character. We've got an ammo here. All I'm doing here is I'm pressing tab to give myself a cursor so I can point it on the screen. And there's 3 bars above our ammo and below our crosshair. Now, if I press shift, I dash forwards. And if I press space and then space again, I double jump. So this is our stamina resource. I'm not going to go into depth on things like how to utilize all of the mechanics properly. This is just about getting you started. So you can see that you've got ammo and you can dash around, and you can also slide if you hold crouch, either when going down a slope or after you've dashed, you can crouch and slide. One more thing to note is your ammo here turns into a little infinity symbol whilst you're sliding. And that's because whilst you're sliding, you don't consume ammo. That's literally it for our general mechanics of how to play the game. The only other thing is Q by default is a melee button. And if you press and hold it, you'll do a heavy punch. And if you tap it, you'll do a light punch for about half the damage. Now, on top of that, you've got a parry button here. So if somebody is meleeing you, you can try and time a parry to stun them. That shouldn't be relevant for the rest of the video, but it is noteworthy. Now, if we go back into the main room here, we've got this play section. We're going to go ahead and press E on the play section. We're going to click on the bot match on the right-hand side. We can see this. We've got standard matches and street brawl. These are our PvP modes, and for today, we're not going to touch those. We'll talk about that in a later video. Now, we're going to go into a bot match. You can see here that you've got private brawl and private standard. I'd pick standard. Brawl is a different game mode. It's slightly more casual, slightly more fun, so I would definitely recommend trying it out if you're not necessarily super competitive as a person and you just want something that's maybe a bit more easygoing and there's less to learn. I'm sure that would be great. But as far as bot matches and getting used to the game, I would still recommend doing one of each of these difficulties with a few goals in mind. And when we click on the easy mode, we get given a character select screen. I would recommend playing Haze. I think Haze is a really simple character. All you have to do is shoot her gun and understand that the more you shoot, the more damage you do on her. So for these bot matches, I'm not saying you have to play Haze against players, but just for the sake of reducing the simplicity, it might be worthwhile. Now we have a little intro screen here showing us what team we're fighting for. So we're on the Hidden Kings team. And we can see if I press tab here, we've got all of these characters that we're playing with, and then all of these characters that we're playing against. And then in the bottom right, we've got a mini map. Now, my hotbar here is flashing, and it's saying suggested on this icon. It'll tell you suggested on any character you play. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press tab and left click on it. Alternatively, you can press alt and then press the button to the corresponding keybind. And as we can see, we've got 2 enemy bots and myself and an ally bot, and then there's some minions. So this is Deadlock now. We're in a game, and this is how it's played. So all you want to do is you want to start shooting these minions, these little troopers. When you shoot them, a soul will appear, and you want to try and secure that soul by shooting it. These waves will come at about 30-second intervals, so there'll be quite regularly minions in the lane with yourself and the enemies. And the best thing you can do is focus the minions before you focus the bad guys. try and stand behind your minions so that you're not being the focus of the enemies and your minions can do a bit of work for you. Once we've cleared this wave, I'm going to go back to our tower up here. So these are friendly towers. You can see that the enemy also has a tower over there, and we've got a shop nearby. So shops can either be on the left-hand side if you're on the side lanes, yellow and green lanes, or on the blue lane is towards the right. When I go towards the shop, it will show me a prompt in the center of my screen for which key to press to open it. You'll be on a default build at the start. I would recommend just following along with this default build. Now, in regards to how to use the shop menu, you can left click to purchase an item, or you can right click if you're not next to a shop. And then once you go nearby a shop, if you have this option here selected, it will purchase it for you automatically. I recommend this as the best way to play. If you are walking towards a shop and you pick what you want to buy, you pop it in that little pre-order menu, and then it just purchases for you automatically. It'll be a really nice little habit to pick up, but don't worry if that's a bit too much for you right now. As I clear this wave again, I've got enough souls to buy another item. So I've got 800. I'm going to go towards the shop. I'm going to right click on what I want. It's going to buy automatically for me straight away. And then I'm going to go back into the lane and kill these minions. Now, when I recommended that we play 3 games, the reason being is I think we should get used to this sort of behavior of clearing out the minions and then going to buy. And eventually, with these easy bots, it should be quite reliable for you to get up to their tower like I am doing now and dealing plenty of damage to it. And once we've killed this tower, I'm going to talk about the other things that you can do in a few other runs of bot matches, just to familiarize yourself with the game as a whole. But right now, I'm not doing enough damage, so I'm just going to focus the minions again and just make sure that I'm dodging the enemy spells here, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. So we've killed the tower now, and I'm going to show you a few things around the map, a few more tips to get you started, get you moving towards playing against players. So first thing we can look at is on the map here, we've got these 2 little icons on the right and on the left. These are buffs, so the icons may be different for you in your game. If I look over to the right, I can see there's a crystal there and a crystal there along on these bridges. I'm going to go ahead and walk towards them. Like I mentioned, we've got double jumps that we can use to get up things. And then there's this little vent that will take us straight here. Now it says heavy melee to claim power up. So now that's given me more stamina because this is the stamina buff. There's also some ziplines here. If you do miss the vent, you can climb up manually like this and grab the buff. I'll quickly go back to blue lane. I'm going to defend my tower, and then I'll show you a few more things in the game, and then we're going to close out the video talking about some settings, some general tips on what you can consider. Looks like I've got some bots helping me out here, so I can be a little bit more aggressive. I can go ahead and kill both of these bots. There's another one showing up. Oh, they're all showing up. Okay. Not a problem. I'm just going to take a step back here and let the bots fight it out. So, when it comes to the camps on the map, you'll see these small creatures dotted around. They'll be in 3 different strengths. So these are the tier 1s, the smallest and weakest of the camps. They are often found next to your shop or your tower as a little thing that you can do quickly in between waves. Now these are tier 2 minions. They're a little bit bigger, do a little bit more damage and have a bit more health. And then this is a tier 3 minion. Again, bigger, stronger, has more health. Lastly, as far as what we can farm on the map, there's 2 things. So we've got this Sinner's Sacrifice, which we can punch. And then we've got these Buddhas that give us permanent small buffs. We've also got some boxes. So 3 things, really. Now, the boxes and Buddhas are littered all across the map. You can pick them up as you're moving from one lane to another, or if you're going towards a shop, etc. With the Sinner's Sacrifice, I'm going to kill these quickly. With the Sinner's Sacrifice, there's some lights up here at the top. You want to use heavy melees to break these. And as you see, the lights are going down. After 4 heavy melees, the lights start climbing up like so. And when this light is lit up, so there's 2 left, we want to channel a heavy melee, and it'll give us a buff. I did it a little bit too late there, so we didn't get the buff. So let's go find another one, and we'll do the timing properly. I'm going to wait for this light to be lit up. Sorry, this one. There we go. I got the timing right this time, and it gives us 4 random buffs, just like these statues sometimes do. So they're really, really great. They give you a lot of souls, and those extra buffs do start to stack up, especially in the mid game. You'll find that you're like way stronger if you do manage to grab a couple of these around the map. Now, like I said, I'm not going over all of the in-depth mechanics here. I'm just giving you a few things to give you an idea of. These zip lines, you can press space to attach to them, and you can crouch off them, and you can use them to get around the map, like dashing off them like this to go towards another lane. Or you'll get a boost every now and then to use, which means if you're low HP and you need to quickly go back to base to heal in full, you can press the speed boost button, quickly go back to your base, heal up to full, and then get back out on the map. So that's it for gameplay. Like I said, I think you should play 3 matches. You should kill the Guardian turret, and then on your following match, I think you should go and kill the Walker. So this is the second tower on a lane. This one right here. So this will take a lot more damage, like I said. The buffs on the map and the Sinner's Sacrifice might be worthwhile farming to get a little bit more items in you. So do some waves, and then when there's no wave to kill, go and farm some of those camps, and then you come back to push this Walker once you say maybe at the 12,000 souls mark. Now following that, what I would recommend for your last match when you're on the hard bots is just give it a go and try and finish out the match. If it's taking too long, don't worry about it. Just get into the enemy base, have a look around, see how it feels to kill the structures. And I'm going to quickly show you that now before we go on to our settings. So I've killed the enemy walker, and I'm just in front of these guardian towers. They look a little bit different, and these are defending the base. We need to kill these before we can be looking around the enemy base, really, and trying to kill the objectives inside. So now that they're dead, we're coming in, and we'll see that we've got some HP bars shown on screen saying enemy shrines, and that's correlated to these things on the left and right here. If we walk towards them, you'll see that our minions hop up, and we can deal damage if we're stood on this little altar here with the shrines, and we can punch them. We can use our abilities as well, but I wouldn't recommend using your ultimate, for example. Once these 2 shrines are down, we'll be able to target the Archmother or the Hidden King, depending on what team you're on, and deal damage to them. And then they'll go to a weakened state in the pit in the center here. Let me just walk past them. And the Archmother will be in its final form. You'll be able to deal damage and kill it and end the game that way. Right, let's get back to the menu now. Like I said, you can just quit out at any time. There's no pressure. This is a bot match. And we'll have a quick look over the settings. I'm going to leave 2 links in the description below for a settings guide and a guide to get another ping wheel. So if I hold my middle mouse button, I get some options on things that I can say in game without having to use my microphone. I'm quite fond of pinging things. I think it's like a really consistent way to communicate, and also it never really gets any wires crossed because everybody knows what the ping means. It's not like you're trying to be rude or anything. So if we hit escape and go to the settings section here, there's a few things here that are showing as new for me because they've updated the settings section recently. We're in our keybind section first. If we scroll down beyond the abilities section, this will be default, similar to mine. And like I say, I personally use the Alt and then pressing the corresponding key to upgrade it. And I have an alternate cast of press and hold. This is personal preference. I do believe this is the best method for using an alternate cast, and I'll show you what that means in a second. And then for items, I really like instant cast. I find it much more intuitive than the other options. Now, movement stuff, that's all default for me. Combat, again, this is all fine as defaults. And then as we go down, you can see you can put a shop button and a quick buy button. If you don't like the idea of it automatically buying when you get in range, you can set that up and it'll auto buy, and you can just press it to purchase for you without opening the shop menu. And then if we go a little bit further down, we've got other less useful options. Things like audio, for example, always handy to have both of these set up, especially if you're playing with friends. You might not be using Discord or something. This is a nice way so you can speak to just them. And then beyond this, I'm going to go to the communications tab. Now, at the moment, I really struggle with dealing with toxic teammates. And I also sometimes get my wires crossed and assume people are being toxic towards me when they're actually just trying to communicate. I'm quite a sensitive person in that sense, and it's definitely something I try and work on. So what I've chosen to do is have text and voice off, and then I do keep pings on for the most part. Now, this can change depending on my mood, and I'll turn on comms as and when I'm trying to be competitive, and I know it's not going to rub me up the wrong way. The last thing I want to do is get upset in a game, because I'm here to have fun and play the game and enjoy learning. So beyond this, what I would recommend is if you hit escape whilst you're in-game, you'll see the players on the right-hand side, and if there's somebody in specific who you specifically want to mute, you can go ahead and left-click near their name, and it'll have a little microphone that will enable you to mute them, and they'll stay muted even if you see them in a following game. That's just a few tips on how to communicate and how to limit the communication to what you want it to be. Now, like I alluded to earlier, there's a ping wheel here. You can pick how you communicate with this. Like I said, there's a guide in the description below to enable you to set up multiple. So for me, I have two. I have this one with my yes, no, and help on it. And I've got another one that says, sorry, never mind, I'm leaving, communicating to push a lane or something like this. So I find that really helpful having two, but that may be a bit useless for some people or just not really worth the time. So I appreciate that. Now, in terms of the settings section, I do use the settings guide in the description, and I have everything on low generally because I like my game to be as snappy and as high frame rate as possible. I'm not particularly bothered by the visuals and it looking perfect because I think the art's great, so it doesn't need those high settings for it to look better. Now, that's about it for our settings. What I would recommend is, generally speaking, people are often quite quiet with their microphones, so just bear in mind if you do have voice chat on, having it a little bit higher might be useful. And then, of course, for a crosshair, we do have lots and lots of options for the crosshair. You can also use third-party websites. If you just Google deadlock crosshair, you can get a code, and then if you just press F7 to open up the console command, you can paste that code in, and it'll update your crosshair for you. So that's everything for today's guide. I will make a follow-up sort of talking about what you can do after you've played a few bot matches and you're a little bit more comfortable in the game. That video won't involve any gameplay. It will just involve some tips and tricks on things that you can keep in mind whilst you're playing to hopefully make it a little bit more streamlined once you get into those PvP matches. Thank you very much for watching. As always, have a good day. Please leave a comment if you felt that there was anything I didn't cover properly or you'd like me to discuss in more detail. Of course, a like would go a long way if you did appreciate the video. Take care.